Ladies and gentlemen, sit back and enjoy
Mega Meeple.
Greetings and welcome to the Mega Meeple, the show all about gamers and the games that bring them together. This is episode 83. And how the hell are you? Well, I'm doing pretty good, thanks for asking. Now, if this is your first time here, thank you so much for smashing that download and listen button. Appreciate it very much. Everybody is welcome here at the Mega Meeple gaming table. And if you haven't already, go over to our website. It's www.themegameeple.com. And all of the previous episodes, you can listen to all 82 episodes after you just finished listening to this one, streamed right there on the website. You could also go to the social media page where we have all the Facebooks and the Twitters and Instagrams and all that other stuff. There's also links on there. You go to our Patreon page if you want to support the show. Also, we have some reviews and blogs and stuff like that and links to our YouTube channel. So, yes. So, thank you so much for coming along. And for those of you who are returning guests, thank you for coming back. Always good to see some familiar faces here. But yeah, so what's been going on here? Well, I've been playing through. I've been loving the hell out of Hate, the new CMON game that just got delivered to backers. Was it not even a month or so ago? I had a group of people over. We played a free-for-all one-off. And that was all fine and good, but, you know, like I think I talked a little bit about in the previous episode, that game is really, really made and designed for a ongoing campaign game. And so that's basically the way we're playing it right now. I've actually taken two of the expansion tribes, the Vornash and the Umtul, or Omtal, or whatever the hell you pronounce it. So pitting those two tribes together against one another. One does the poisoned, and the other one does the traps. So it's going through some clashes there, and that and like I said, that's really where a lot of the fun, the enjoyment of the game is with the ongoing sort of legacies. You know, it's not in the point of legacy where you're like marking things up or tearing things around. I mean, really, the only thing that you're marking up are the sheets. You know, CMON has a copy of all those score sheets and maps and everything like that. You could on their website. You could download and print out all you want, but it kind of uses that same kind of sleeved. Insert the cards, clear cards, a la sort of like Mystic Veil and Edge of Darkness by AEG. Kind of uses that same style of upgrade, but it's not a card crafting game per se. That's just the mechanism that it uses to upgrade your warriors in your tribe. Yeah, so having fun with that. Let's see, I just recently received by Brotherwise Games a call to adventure. I was actually contacted by Brotherwise Games saying, hey, we'd like to send you a review copy of the game. Would you be interested in doing a review? And I said, yeah, sure. I mean, I'm not going to say no. I think of all the people that have approached me to do review copies, I think I've only turned one of them down. But Brotherwise Games was not one of them. I told him, yeah, sure, send me a copy, and got it this past week. So, I mean, component-wise, it looks pretty cool. I mean, it's one of these, you don't want to call it a dice game because it doesn't use dice, it uses runes. And so that seems to be a pretty interesting and original take on, in place of using dice, hey, just use runes. And that's something that I have not seen before. So it will be neat to play through that the next coming few weeks and get a review out on that. Or if it's a game that it turns out that I really like, yeah, that I'll do a review of it. And that's another thing I kind of wonder about. It's like, because I've gotten review copies of games or prototypes that just the game just wasn't very good, basically. So it's like, well, do I really want to put a review out there of a game when I'm gonna say something negative about it? So that may be something to pose a question out to you folks. Do you want to see reviews of games if the review is not going to be stellar, or not going to be like one of the top ranking or something very highly favorable? Do you still want to see a review of that game? I've heard of people saying that they get real suspicious, and I've even said this myself. If somebody just does positive reviews and that's all they do is talk positive and happy, you just, after a while, you just kind of think of, all right, well, are they on the take? What's going on there? And there's a lot to say about games that you enjoy that you're going to give a positive review on. It's just more fun to create videos about. So that has a lot to do with it as well. Interact with me on that and let me know what you think. Well, I got a really cool guest this episode. We have Steve Spohn from Abled Gamers. We'll be talking about their charity and the things that their organization does for people with disabilities. All right, welcome back to the Mega Meeple, and we got a very special guest talking with us today about Abled Gamers charity. And one of the things, if you listen to the podcast any amount of time, you know that I've always been an advocate of inclusiveness. It's always a win-win situation when we have introduce the gaming community to as many people that want to be a part of it as possible. And to be able to enable people, be it board games, card games, video games, if they want to play, to be able to enable them to do so with and basically meet people where they're at. So we have with us today Steve Spohn. Steve, how you doing today?
It's a good day here. How about you?
Doing good. We'll talk about some very positive things here, some good works being done here. Now, you are the COO of a organization called Abled Gamers. That's abledgamers.org, right?
Yep, Abled Gamers Charity. That's us.
Okay. Well, tell us a little bit about what is Abled Gamers. What do you guys and girls do there, and how did what was the impetus behind the Abled Gamers charity being created?
Well, Abled Gamers was created really out of a need for there to be a place where people could turn if they'd like to participate in this wonderful world of gaming that we all love so much. if you have a disability and if standard controllers have failed you and have not allowed you to participate in this world like everyone else. It was started by a man named Mark Barley. He had a sister from another mother named Stephanie Walker who had MS, and they used to be able to connect on an army base and go through their daily routines together. And when they got transferred away from base, the only thing connecting them was EverQuest, that ancient game we all used to play millions of years ago. One day Mark went to call and see, why had Stephanie missed their Friday gaming session, and turned out that she had an MS flare-up, and she was unable to use her mouse. She could not move her hand in order to keep their hand on the mouse or be able to activate any of the buttons. And through this, they discovered that in looking for a solution, there was no help. There was nothing online that said, here's what you do. If you're disabled and you want to play video games, here's the roadmap to do that. There was no such thing existed, and it really bothered them. They wanted to make it better. They wanted to create a repository of information where you could come and look and find out ideas for yourself. And sort of out of that, it grew from a little blog with a little bit of information to this mega international charity that we are today, helping millions of gamers around the world.
Wow. How many gamers per, I'd say like per year or so average did you say you're able to Abled Gamers is able to help?
Well, that's always a very hard number to estimate because it depends on your definition of help. So we have a ticket system that people can email us at Abled Gamers, where you can say, hey, I have this disability or I have this challenge and I really want to play this game. You have any ideas for me? And we answer free of charge. We help as many as we can. We get approximately 10 to 12 emails per day from different gamers that need our help. And going through those takes time, of course, and effort by our accessibility experts. But we help, I'd say, somewhere around 3,000 to 4,000 people through the ticket system per year. We have our individual grant system, which is where people who have donated or companies who have donated, we take that money and we then buy controllers, or we create controllers from scratch that are needed to bridge the gap between someone with disabilities who has a desire to play a video game and a challenge to overcome. And then we support hospitals, where we go into a hospital, a daycare facility, a home, whatever you have where people with disabilities live, and really just have the community together where they'd like to be able to play video games, not just one person, but an entire group of individuals. And we give them up to $10,000 worth of equipment, custom made, fully Xbox, PC, the whole 9 yards, so that they can have as much fun as they want in that center. And then on top of that, we help millions of people by influencing the developer industry. You've seen us in the credits of games like the latest Black Ops 4. You can look and find Abled Gamers in the credit. You can find my name, Steve Spohn, in the credit. You can find Mark and Craig and all the people that work there. And we are constantly trying to find new and different ways to help. And on top of that, we're under more NDAs than I could possibly tell you about. If I started speaking about it, a golden robot would pop out of my closet and start beating me.
Okay, well, we won't.
So yeah,
we won't provoke that.
Leave the golden robot alone. He's sleeping. He's having a good time. But I always struggle to answer that question, because the answer is that we help hundreds and thousands of people individually every year, but on the grand scale, if someone plays a game like Black Ops and those accessibility options are in the game, well, we'll never know that they got helped by us, and they may never know that they got helped by us just because we were there to influence a developer.
Okay. All right. Well,
damn, Steve, I wanted a 500-word answer. Come on.
No problem. So now, I don't know if we could. I'll see if it's available. If we could post a picture of one of these controllers or something like that. But for those people listening, are able to? Can you describe to me what one of these controllers for video games look like, and that helps enable someone with disabilities, especially with like MS, that's able to play the video game?
Well, the good thing about controllers for people with disabilities is that the only thing that makes them special is that they're not a standard controller you pick up at Walmart. These are very individualized controllers. So you have ones that look like a white bracket with a mouthpiece on it, and that is called a quad stick. It enables you to move your lips and your jaw in order to control an Xbox controller. Or we could be talking about an Axis controller where it's just the giant top of an arcade machine. Remember those old joysticks you moved around and slapped the button on the Pac-Man machines?
Uh-huh.
We took the idea of that with our partners, and we now have a lap-size controller where you can just fit it on your knees and, get a pillow and play comfortably on your, gaming system of choice for hours. We have, mice that are specially designed. We have keyboards with large print. We have eye gaze controllers. We have trackers for your feet that look like foot pedals. We have things that can fit onto the brim of a baseball cap so that you can just move your head around in order to control the computer. There's all kinds of cool, nifty gadgets that our engineers have come up with over the years and that our partners have helped us build. And of course, everybody knows the Xbox Adaptive Controller from Microsoft. One of the highlights for Abled Gamers, a personal highlight for me of the year. Just being able to work in secrecy with Microsoft for 3.5 years to bring this thing that some have compared to a DJ stand with its giant black buttons. In order to enable a certain percentage of the audience to be able to play it together.
Okay, wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now, for people that want to apply or send a ticket, what I guess what kind of like documentation would they need to provide, if any, to show that they are indeed disabled and have a legitimate need?
Well, I can't tell you all the ins and outs of the secrets because we have our own methodology. What I can tell you is that when you submit for a grant, you go through an extensive interview process and assessment to ensure that you will get the controller that you need in order to play video games or enjoy the digital communities of your choice. There are safety measures we have put in place to make sure that people aren't, trying to scam controllers out of us. It happens. I'm not going to tell you it doesn't. I've turned down my fair share of people because they, just wanted a cool controller, but they didn't really need it. But we don't ask for, proof as far as like a medical diagnosis or a note from your doctor. We like to believe that the people reaching out to us sincerely need the help. And, if you're coming to us and you're explaining your situation, chances are you really need the help. And, we take your word at face value until proven otherwise.
Okay. So, how would a disabled gamer contact you if they want to submit a request to you?
Yeah, we're available all over the internet at Abled Gamers, of course. You can find us abledgamers.org, on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all the social media places. They all lead back to the same ticket system where you'll start your journey, which is just talking to one of us who have put in years in learning all of the controllers out there and really taking a look at your needs and your desires to playing games. And then from there, we will work together and we'll decide, well, this controller seems like a good possibility. Okay, cool. Do you need help buying it? Yes. No. Can you get it yourself? All right, cool. And then if you need help, then you'll move on from the system where, you're just getting an assessment to the actual grant queue. Now, that queue is much longer than we would like, but there are so many tens of thousands of gamers that need our help that it's just an ongoing struggle to keep up with demand. That said, it's always a good idea to reach out as soon as you learn about us, start getting into the process, and, hopefully within a few months' time, we'll be able to reach out and get you that controller you need.
Okay, great. Now, I'd like you to talk about, if you can, maybe one or two testimonials or stories of someone who has needed your help and has gotten the controller that they need, and how did that change how did that change their life?
Well, I'll tell you, I don't think about any of our stories as testimonials. What I think about them is ways that people have been affected by what we do. One of my favorite stories to tell is from an expo that we went to in Chicago. Back, about 5 or 6 years ago, we had gone to this place, sort of like everyone knows, PAX East, PAX West, where these giant video game conventions where we all come together to celebrate video gaming. Well, they do the same thing for people with disabilities, where, you can go to this convention and you can see all kinds of cool gadgets and gizmos that will enable you to have a greater quality of life thanks to these products. So we went to one of these expos, and there was a family there, a mother, a daughter, a son, and another brother who was disabled. And this small child, maybe I'd say 7.5, nothing over maybe 60 pounds, laying back in a wheelchair, reclined at a 45-degree angle with a heart monitor and a breathing apparatus on the back, and just sort of staring at the ceiling, but also looking very happy, was over there checking out the video games. And the family, you could see they're looking at what we're doing, and it's kind of obvious that they'd like to approach us. They're staring at our Forza display where we've got our racing cars set up with our predecessor to the Xbox adaptive controller called an Adroit, and we're setting up for the day. And they're standing there and they're watching us, and I'm like, why don't you come over, check it out? No, I can't. Well, why don't you just give us a chance? Oh, no, nobody can help us. It's fine. We just wanted to look for a little bit. No, seriously. Just come on over. Give us a chance. And so I talked them into it, and I bring them over, and it's me and our founder, Mark Barley, at this Forza demo unit, and we're talking to the family about, what are your challenges, what's daily life, going through the whole entire assessment process. And while we're doing this, we notice that the kid has some muscle in his foot. He's wiggling it just a little bit. So Mark and I kind of confer, and we decide, all right, cool, there's an idea. So we ask the family for permission to give something a shot, and they say sure. And we grab this foot pedal, just like the gas pedal on your car, and hold up the foot pedal to the child, and the kid presses down with his foot, and the Forza car comes roaring to life and speeds across the way, slams into the wall, crashes, burns, and everybody starts giggling, and the kid is just enamored. You can just feel the vibrations coming off of this kid as for the first time he has driven a car in a video game.
Oh, wow.
And the mom and the dad are just absolutely open mouth, just, oh my gosh, what is happening? And they are so happy, and we are so happy for them. And it was an amazing moment where a memory for the rest of my life was formed, because I got to see someone's happiness up front and center. And that would be a fantastic story in and of itself if it ended there. But it goes a bit further when the next day I receive a tap on the shoulder and a squeeze on my bicep, and I turn around and it's the dad. And I go, Mr. So-and-so, what's up? How are you? And he's got tears in his eyes. And keep in mind, I am a disabled person myself, 4 foot off the ground in my power wheelchair with my ventilator. And, this guy is 7 foot tall, makes The Rock look like a small person, and, marine bodybuilder kind of person. Tears in his eyes. And he's looking at me and he's going, I just had to stop by to thank you. I'm going, hey, no problem. I'm happy that we were able to help. I'm happy that your son's going to be able to play games now. And that's awesome. That's what we do, There's no thanks necessary. He squeezes my arm. He's like, no, Steve, you don't understand. You gave my son something very precious. And I'm just like, okay, well, I appreciate you saying that. It's no problem. It's what I do. And, he shakes his head. He's like, you don't understand. Every Saturday and Sunday, my son and I watch cartoons. He's nonverbal and he can't speak. All he can do is watch and participate from an outsider point of view. But every time a commercial for a video game comes on, he squeals and he wiggles, and I know he wants to play these games, but he can't because it's impossible. You gave that back to him. Your company gave that back to him. And of course, this one, I'm just like, oh, I'm just trying not to fall off my wheelchair because I'm just like, for the first time realizing that it wasn't about the video games. The whole reason that I traveled out to Chicago, that Mark lugged all this equipment and set it up, because back then it was just me and him against the world. We didn't have the team we do today. It was about helping one person and another person and another person. And it was about helping them get their dreams back. And to me, that's when I learned that what we do is not a video game charity. We're a people charity that helps people realize their dreams.
That is beautiful. For our listeners out there, I'm not crying. You're crying. But
I was bawling like a baby that day. It was a good kind of cry, because it lets you know that, for all the bad stuff that we hear and, all the trouble in the world today, there's some moments of real pure joy where, someone was able to realize a dream. And really, isn't that what life's all about?
yeah, definitely. We talk about just the relationships and the memories that gaming creates. It's the gaming is just the common denominator, the common interest where humans could get together and have fun, and there may be, I'm sure some people, I don't know if I doubt they're listening, because if you're listening, you're a gamer. But there's a cross section of society out there that would say, "Oh, it's just a game. What's the big deal?" To people like us, to the people like that child, it is a big deal, because, like we said, you say yourself, it's not about the game. It's about creating memories. It's about making people happy. The world is full with a bunch of crap going on already.
Yeah.
Everybody needs a distraction. Some people, play sports. Some people watch sports. We play games. But it's times that when we can have that distraction, and in that distraction, be able to create memories with friends and family and loved ones. And that's what it's all about.
It is.
So, all right. I gotta blow my nose here. That was
Sorry, yeah, you asked for the story. I told you the story.
And that's what I want to drive home. Is like, okay, yeah, this is not just about gaming. It's about helping people and people achieve their dreams. Now, for any game developers out there that one of the things that I talk about in the board game aspect is game designers should have things like things to help people that with color blindness be able to play their game in spite of that. So if there's any video game or game designers out there that have not yet availed themselves to your consultations, how can they get a hold of you? Is there like a specific portal or contact information that they could talk to someone on how you guys could help consult them and make their game accessible for people with disabilities?
Yeah, so the great thing about what we preach is that accessibility is a mindset. There is never going to be a time where every single game is accessible to every single person as long as disabilities exist on Earth. There will always be challenges that preclude certain movements, certain objects, certain things from working together. What we can do is we can keep in mind an open mindset of accessibility. And where we teach this is on our website under accessible.games. That's the actual website, accessible.games. You can find design patterns. You can find descriptions of video games, the ones that do it right, the ones that do it not so well, the ones that you should model yourself after, along with, ideas on, this is how you should, undo, redo with your abilities. For example, the recent Forza game where once you make your license plate, it's stuck like that forever. You can never do it again. Well, what if you have tremors in your hand and you accidentally just spelled an awful word instead of your name or your initials? You're stuck. There's nothing you can do. Well, it's an easy thing to add in an escape button to let somebody redo something like naming a character. It doesn't have to be permanent. There's no reason it does. And lots of little things like that, adding colorblind mode, adding captioning to your game. There's lots of things you can do along the way, and they're all described very intricately by people that are, working very diligently. Our research team, headed by Chris Powers and Greg Haynes, they are amazing individuals who really have a commanding grasp on the technical language that developers can utilize and understand. It's a free resource. You don't have to pay any money to go view it right now at accessible.games. And of course, from there, you can come to our website, ablegamers.org. We have an amazing section called Player Panels. It's where we have the largest to date on the planet group of gamers with disabilities who are ready, willing, and able to help test video games for developers, whether it's a one-man indie team or a mega giant studio with 5,000 people. They are ready and willing to help bring accessibility to you by testing your game in person, depending on what their disability is and what their expertise is. And we'll help facilitate all of that while making sure that the gamer with disability gets something for their time. Not everybody can take payment because of insurance issues or whatnot, but we make sure that everybody's compensated so that everybody wins in that scenario. And if you're a developer or you're a gamer, go check out Player Panels on the Able Gamers website and see about joining today.
Okay, definitely. And we'll have links to those things on the show notes of this episode. Well, now if people want to donate either, now you accept donations, financial donations, time, talents donations. What kind of? So what's how can people get a hold of you? I mean, obviously through ablegamers.org, but if you could say what is your biggest need as a charity right now, what would that be?
It is unfortunately the job of a COO at any one high level at a charity to constantly ring the bell of we need donations. It's something that, is uncomfortable for some people, and everybody gets a little charity fatigued hearing, you're a charity, you need donations. I get it. But, the truth of the matter is that, as I was saying, we are a small charity. We've come close, but we've not yet raised $1 million in a year, and we have millions and millions of gamers who need help. Each and every one of these controller costs between $350 all the way up to $10,000, depending on the complexity of the case. So getting those donations, whether it's, somebody giving $5, $25, $3 a month, or a one-time donation of, $2, it all comes together and helps out. And that's really what's important. Sometimes I get, hearing people say, Steve, I can't give much. Here's $10. That's literally all I have that I can afford to give. And I say, thank you. Don't give it if you can't afford it. But believe me, it all adds up, And for those who, are rich millionaires, if you're friends with Elon Musk, tell him we could use some help. But if you're somebody who, doesn't have the means to donate financially, there's always in-kind services. We're always looking for people to work booths at various conventions around the country. It doesn't cost any money, just a couple hours of your time. You can always do your part by spreading the word. Some of our greatest champions have never given us $1 of their own money. They've reached out to their friends to ask for donations. They've held events where they've fundraised for us. You can go to soeveryonecangame.com, which is our fundraising area. You can set up a team where you can go play video games for 12 hours to raise money, where you can ask your mom and your dad and your uncle to donate $10 each. And, every time you reach that milestone of around $350, you can guarantee you've at least helped one person be able to get back into video gaming. And really, I can't think of a better incentive than that.
Definitely. I mean, but does anybody out there says, "Well, I only have $1. I only have $5 or something like that." It's well, my $5 is not going to make a difference. I tell people, look, have you ever gone to a vending machine and you wanted a soda or a candy bar or something like that, and you're a nickel short? You ain't getting that candy bar. Okay, you're not getting. So that nickel becomes really, really important to get that candy bar or that soda or whatever.
It does.
So yeah, don't think your your $5 or something like that is not going to make a difference, because it just might. You never know.
I always like to steal the Markiplier line. He did a fundraiser for us one year, and he was telling the story of the starfish and how, everyone just sees one starfish and thinks, oh, it's just one little creature. But if you look down underneath the ocean, there's an army of starfish, and they help keep that ocean churning. And it's just $1 at a time. A starfish is just $1, and that's how the world works, is by coming together and doing things as much as you can at one time. And, even if you can't, it's a matter of just being a voice for people who may not have one. Go out there, tell your favorite developer that you care about accessibility. It sounds corny and cheesy to tweet at EA, hey, I care about accessibility, but you know what? Somebody's watching that account. And if you get enough people doing that, and if you tell enough of your friends, and I tell enough of my friends, and everyone here tells enough of their friends,
Yep.
Suddenly you have an avalanche request for help, and somebody's going to answer.
Yep, definitely. Well, Steve, thank you so much for being our guest today, and just for sharing just a very beautiful and heartwarming story, and all the fantastic things that you and everybody at abledgamers.org are doing. So Godspeed to all of you. And so again, we will have links to all these things on the show notes of this episode. Go check it out. If you're able to donate your time, money, if not, hey, just spread the word. That doesn't cost you a thing. Just to share the word, get the notice out there that there are people who wanting to play games, not able to, and there's a group of people and designers and consultants that are helping to make that happen. So,
thanks for having me.
Alrighty then. Well, thank you so much for smashing that download button, giving this episode a listen. We also are streaming on things like TuneIn and Spotify and Google Play and iTunes. If you haven't already, go over to iTunes and subscribe. While you're there, put out some of that 5-star loving. Give me a happy review if you enjoy what you heard here. Also go to our YouTube channel. The links are found on the social media page of the website, www.megameeple.com, and subscribe there. That way you can see the monthly vlogs and the reviews and the sort of what I call the director cuts of the Dice Tower board game breakfast segments that I do. So I only have like 2 minutes to talk about what I want to talk about for those videos. And if you want to see all the stuff that wound up on the editing room floor when I submitted those videos, you can see the extended director's cut of those video segments on my YouTube channel. And if you want to help support what I do here on the podcast and the YouTube channel, you go to our Patreon page. The link is found at the social media page of the website, as well as all the videos on the YouTube channel. Yeah, anything from $1 a month helps, and also depending on what level of support you give, you get everything from shout outs to a chance to win a monthly game giveaway, or even be a special guest co-host on one of the episodes here of the podcast. Yeah, so I have different levels of support you could do on the Patreon page. So I appreciate your help there. I really need help, especially with the YouTube channel. Want to be able to hire a video editor, so your patrons really help with that. And if you're not able to support on the Patreon, just word of mouth. Tell your friends about the show. That doesn't cost you one thing. Or even on social media, retweet stuff that I put out there or share things that I put out there on Facebook. That helps as well. And just getting the word out. So appreciate. And if you're not able or willing to do any of those things, well, hey, thanks for listening. And I hope you will come back and join me next week. Until then, this is Tom, the Mega Meeple, saying I will see you at the gaming table.